Hello all. It's a real pleasure to be here at the Solita Summit. My name is Emilia Gedda and I work as the Chief Advisor on Sustainability and Circular Economy at the Finnish Textile and Fashion Association. The association is for the companies that are active in the industry here in Finland. Today, my aim is to explore with you how the Digital Product Passport, or the DPP, is shaping the fashion industry at the moment. The DPP is not just about compliance, it's also about a bigger shift from linear to circular, from physical products to value or data, and from regulation-driven change to real value for companies and consumers. But before we dive into the DPP, let me give you a quick snapshot of the Finnish Textile and Fashion Association. The association was established 120 years ago to support the Finnish textile and fashion industry. Our members are the Finnish textile and fashion companies, and they are at the very core of everything we do. Our member companies produce everything from clothing to accessories to interior textiles, technical textiles, and non-wovens. And our role as an association is to represent their interest and act as an industry voice on behalf of them. And one could say that our goal is really clear: to ensure a business environment that enables sustainable growth, internationalization, and long-term success for our members. But let's start by giving a context of the industry. The industry is going through a major transition. We are moving from linear models towards circularity. And this change or shift affects every stage of the value chain, from the fiber production to design, manufacturing, sales, use, collection, recycling, and back to new fibers. This change or transformation is currently largely market-driven, with companies in the forefront. But it's also strongly influenced by regulation and growing customer expectations. So what we are seeing is a huge transformation across the entire value chain that challenges the companies, but also provides new business opportunities. And maybe one of the biggest shifts that we can see in this circular transformation is how value is created. Traditionally, the textile and fashion industry has focused on the physical product itself. The value has been in the physical product, the fabric, the garment, and so forth. But increasingly, we can see that the value is also coming from data on, for example, how products are designed, manufactured, or how they are used and reused. And managing this data effectively opens up new opportunities for the companies in terms of transparency, customer experience, and for building new business models. So, in other words, one could say that we are moving from a product-based industry towards a product and data-based industry. And this, of course, brings high expectations, but also major challenges. Especially because in practice, at least here in Finland and the Finnish industry, maturity is still on a low level in the most critical areas where we come. This radar here shows a clear imbalance. While we can see that circularity and design for recyclability are already on a reasonable level, product data, production data, supply chain data, and analytics are still lagging behind. And why this matters for value creation? Because without reliable, accessible data, we cannot scale. We cannot prove claims to customers or regulators, and we cannot automate processes. So in some way, the message is quite simple. We can see, on the other hand, that the circular transition, that we have the ambition is there. We have the ambition, but we still don't have the digital capabilities, and this is something that we need to work with, especially in this industry. And this is also where the DPP comes in. For the textile and fashion industry, the DPP can act as a shared data layer across the entire value chain. Once again, from fiber production to services, and finally for recycling. And in this way, making product production and supply chain data usable, verifiable, and portable. And for our sector, this could be opportunities such as increased transparency and traceability across suppliers and across the value chain, broadly even. And it could also provide important data that could support the circular practices, like, for example, the services on repair side or then on the reuse side as well. And of course also the DPP can see as a means with which we can build stronger customer trust through more reliable data on materials origin and so forth. But in practice and for the companies, the DPP also raises tough questions on costs, on resources, on capabilities, and also on competitiveness. And when we look at the company from the company perspective on the DPP, we can see that it comes with several different dimensions. On one level, it's about compliance. We have the standards and we have the legislation on that side. On the other hand, it's also about data management, building the capability to collect, verify, and share the information across the entire value chain. And then also the competitiveness dimension is in place here. But then we also have an important dimension, and maybe one dimension that has not been emphasized so much. And this is the consumer perspective and the value creation for customers. And here, maybe something that we are discussing a lot within the industry is that if we only see the DPP as a compliance or a technical exercise, it may risk becoming just a cost. But if companies actually can use it to create value for customers by building the trust, enabling services, or offering even new experiences, then it can become a true driver for competitiveness in the fashion industry as well. And this is actually where our latest collaboration with Solita comes in. We, as an association and together with our member companies, we wanted to understand the consumer perspective, as the majority of our members are actually active in the B2C sector. We wanted to understand what do consumers expect and what benefits do they see in the DPP, if they see any. And this is where we started to discuss this internally and identified that we need support in working forward with this issue. And here we had great collaboration then with Solita. And together we conducted a study on the consumer perspective. And here are some of the insights. The study showed for us that for the most of the consumers, the DPP is still just an abstract thing. They don't yet see it as something that would naturally be part of their everyday lives. And this, on the other hand, means that companies will need to make it relevant and easy to access for the consumers as well. Secondly, the study showed that information can only create value if it's timely and it's in the right format. So here's a lot about, it's not about giving consumers more data and overwhelming them with data, but about making the data meaningful. And thirdly, the study showed that responsibility or sustainability as an intention doesn't automatically change consumption. And this is something that is good to keep in mind when working forward with the DPP. And then fourthly, too much information can be overwhelming. Simplicity and clarity are key. And finally, the study even showed that costs matters for the consumers as well. Consumers are very well aware that someone needs to pay for the DPP and for the systems behind it. And they actually worry that the cost will be passed down to them. So the takeaway of the study could be summarized as unless the DPP translates into clear and tangible benefits for consumers, it risks being just about compliance. So the real challenge here is turning it into everyday value in close collaboration by understanding the consumer. And here we come to the big question about the adoption. And this is maybe the crux of it, moving from ambition to adoption. We have seen the ambition. We have seen the transformation that is mainly at the moment market-driven, from linear models to circular goals. We have also looked at how the value creation is changing in the industry. And we have also seen the expectations both from the companies and consumers. But the adoption will depend on very practical questions. Do we actually have the data required? And what is the cost of this? Do the companies, especially the SMEs, have the skills and resources to deliver what is needed? And then also, what if there's no direct business benefits, at least in the short term? A huge question. And then another question that is really topical in the industry at the moment is the level playing field, so that we would have a fair level playing field, that everybody would follow the same rules from the legislative side. And actually these questions will decide whether the DPP becomes a driver of real value or just another compliance burden. So maybe as a summary for the whole presentation is that It's important to keep in mind that DPP should not remain just as a regulatory approach or a regulatory box-ticking exercise. It needs to become a catalyst for value creation for companies, for consumers, and also for society. Thank you.